Hello guys, I hope I'm live and you can hear me loud and clear. Hello guys, good evening and I hope I am live and you can hear me loud and clear. Can you please confirm? Hello, hello, hello. Great, great. So I am clear, right? Okay. So by the time we actually start today's boot camp, we can have a brief discussion about the topics we covered yesterday. And I'm really sorry for we actually ended up 10 minutes earlier due to some technical issues. So I will try to cover up those topics today. And if you have any doubt, you can just ask me in the chat and I will try to answer as much as I can. Okay. So if you have any doubt, you can ask in the chat. And by that, please let me know like from where you are and where you study or work in the chat. I would really like to know that as well. And if you have any doubt, just ask me in the chat really quick. Also, I will also be sharing the attendance link for yesterday. Actually, I missed it yesterday due to the technical issue. Hello, hi Shivai. I think you are from my last year's batch, right? For cybersecurity training. Student at University of Bradford, MSc Cybersecurity. Oh, that's great. Amazing. What about others? I can see like 27 people are like watching right now. Currently preparing for CH certification and applied for Masters in Cybersecurity. Oh, that's great. It's really good to have some knowledge in cybersecurity before actually you go for masters in cybersecurity. Hi Shivai, how have you been doing? So before we go further, do you know like what is DevTown? Let me also introduce you about DevTown. So DevTown is a actually online edtech platform. So yeah, in which we actually offer different training programs, and as well as we conduct very frequently boot camps on our YouTube channel as well. So you will be able to see the events and the upcoming boot camps. So right now we are doing this modern web application hacking boot camp, and parallelly there is also another boot camp that is getting started with React. Apart from this, you can also explore our training programs, that is full stack web development. The cybersecurity training program is going to be starting very soon, because the cybersecurity and the cloud computing will be taken by me, and so I am the only instructor for this. So these are the two thing, and as well as data science industrial training program. So these are some really regular program, full stack and data science, but cybersecurity and cloud computing is quite exclusive program that actually you get to have just once or twice in year, but actually full stack and data science runs regularly. So I think cybersecurity is starting from 30th of May. You can see, yeah, May 30. It is starting from May 30. So cybersecurity and uh, this cloud computing with AWS, that also starting from 30th of May. Yeah. Okay. Hi everyone. So till then, others can also tell me like from where you are working or studying, and if you have any question from the yesterday's bootcamp, then you can also ask that in the chat, and I will try to answer as much as I can. If you don't have any question, then we can start for the day, right? Yes, I can give you the attendance link for day one. So this is going to be the attendance link for day one. So you can mark your attendance for day one over here. Just a minute. I think, wait, I think I gave the wrong link. Okay. Yeah, I think it's better now. So this is the attendance link for day one, and day two will be given later. Okay. Do you have any questions or not? Like, or we can start for the day. No? Then okay. So yesterday we talked about IP addresses, right? So the motive of this bootcamp is not just hacking. We need to understand like how really things work. And one of the things we must understand is networking, like how the data flow from one place to another place. Now the question is how this IP addresses really work, right? We talked about IP addresses yesterday. Now, but how these IP addresses work? So, are you ready to like understand like how these IP addresses work? Can you tell me like how many types of IP addresses are there? Anyone? Can you tell me how many types of IP addresses are there? Three types, okay. How three types? Uh, Someone said class A, B, C. Okay, that's the thing. Rather than saying like class A, B, and C, it is actually categories of IP address, not the type of IP address. You can say, to be more precise. What are the types of IP address? According to me, there are two types of IP address. What are those? Yes, there are two types. So what are those IP addresses? The two types of IP addresses. Okay, someone said public and private IP. Of course, the answer to public and private IP address is correct. MAC address is a different thing, not it is not an IP address. Okay. So yeah. So let's see, let's understand about types of these IP addresses. Okay. So types of IP address. Actually IPv4 address. The first is actually private IP address. Private IP address. And the second is public IP address. Okay, so let's actually understand this thing, how it actually works. So I think many of you been to hotel. So when it was a time like during past days when we don't used to have mobile phones, and we went to a hotel. Okay, let's take an example. We went to a hotel. So suppose this is a hotel and there are several rooms in the hotel, right? Many rooms are there and there is one reception. Okay, now suppose I am living in one of the rooms in this hotel. Suppose this room number is 101. Okay, the next room will be 102, then 103, then 104. Okay, and this is reception. Okay, now you know like how we used to contact the reception. There used to be a intercom, right? Intercom in any of the rooms, in all of the rooms, and they all are connected to this reception. All are connected to this reception, right? And when you call the reception, what reception will see? This is a reception that yeah, the call is coming from either number, either the room number 101, 102, 103, or 104, right? So that's how we used to contact reception. Now suppose there is my mom living in another city, okay, my hometown, and I'm here in some other city living in this hotel in this room number 101. So how will I be able to contact my mother in my hometown? So, and I don't have a mobile phone. Can someone tell me like how I can contact my mom? Any idea? Okay, let's continue. So, you know, there is a telephone connection in the hotel, okay? But that telephone connection is only available to reception and not to every room number, okay? So, reception can make a call for me to my mom, okay? So, what I can do, I can call the reception and ask them like, hey, this is my phone number of my mom living in another city. I wants to talk to my mom. So what the reception will do? You just call the reception, and reception will actually call your mother and tell that yeah, there is a call from you, who is a person living in our hotel, and they will actually connect you with your mom over this telephone connection. Okay. Now the question is, why only one telephone connection rather than different telephone connection for all of the rooms in the hotel? Can someone tell me? Why just one telephone connection? What are the reasons? There could be some reasons. Tell me. I think there are three reasons according to me. What are those reasons? I will come to WAN and LAN as well. So first, let's stick to this. Yeah, the first is cost. Definitely cost saving. Rather than having multiple telephone connection, the hotel has one connection just to save the cost. The first is cost. Definitely, someone just told me in the chat. What are the other reasons could be? Yes, the next is security reason. Of course, the security is one of the another concern. Security, right? And another reason, not just comfortable to use. What could be some genuine reason? Tell me the genuine reasons. Okay, the third is monitoring. Okay, to check like you are not using it for any unethical cause. Okay, so these are the three things: cost, security, and monitoring. Okay, now we just talked this in respect to hometown, right? Now one of the thing like when my mom will receive the call on this end, so what will be the number displayed on that phone? There are like, is it the number of reception, or will it be the number of this hotel room 101? Can you tell me? Reception. Komal says reception. Akshay says reception. What about others? Okay, so definitely the number shown over on that end will be the number of the reception, right? The number of this reception. Now let's take the case of uh, college. Okay. Now like in college, like there are many. In college there is hostel, and in hostel there are like many room, right? And there is again here also, but this is a hostel. Okay. Now if you are a college student, you must have seen like in every room there is a LAN port to actually get internet connection, right? Suppose this is room number 1, this is room number 2, this is room number 3, and this all LAN connection is connected to another room that is actually known as server room in many colleges. I don't know what it's called in your room, in your college, server room, and they are all connected to this. Now what happens, like suppose you want to actually open website of google.com. Okay, google.com, and the Google server is present in somewhere in US, let's say. Okay, now how will you be able to actually surf the website and actually get access to that web page? Do you know that? So what happens, I'm connected to this server room, and this server room has a device name known as router. Okay, router. Even in your home you have a router, right? Now this router is actually connected to this google.com server. Now when I am here in room number 1, wants to actually get access to this google.com web page, what I will do, I will actually send that request to this server room. It actually, you don't do it manually. As soon as you plug into that LAN port in your room and do some configuration, you get automatically connected to the server room, and the every request goes through this router in the server room. Now when you send a request to router, it will see like where what really I need, like what which web page I really need. It sees that it is a google.com. It will forward that request to google.com server, and the google.com server will return the web page. The router will the web page will come to router, and then router will see like uh, which student in which room is actually requesting for this web page, and similarly that web page will be forwarded to that particular room. Okay, that particular room. So this is how the internet works. Now why college actually took one internet connection and it is being shared among all the rooms? Why not give access to each and every individual in the hostel room with a different internet connection? Can you tell me? Again, there are 3 reasons. Can you tell me, like, what are the reasons? Yes, definitely cost, security, flexibility, monitoring as well. Definitely the cost, security, monitoring, and flexibility as well. Okay, just give me a minute. Huh? Okay, so yeah. Hey Dhruv, we'll be also definitely looking upon other thing as well, yeah, definitely cross-site scripting and SQL injection as well. So don't worry about that. Okay. So till now, I just covered the topic of private IP and public IP address. So similarly, just like we have the phone number for different rooms different, and just one phone telephone connection on reception. Here we have a single internet connection for this server room, and it is being shared with other rooms in the hostel. Okay, so now to get a internet connection, you must have public IP address, and these people who are there in this hostel rooms have private IP address. Okay, now when google.com server will receive the request, so which IP address will be visible to the Google server, public IP address or private IP address, according to you? Which IP address will be visible to the Google server, public IP address or private IP address? Okay, so according to me, it will be public IP address of this router that will be visible to the Google server. I hope it makes sense and it is clear to you. Yes, that will be public IP address. Okay. Yes. So that is the case of public and private IP address. Do you have any doubt? Just ask me in the chat. Yes, we'll be having the bootcamp on Sunday as well. Um, any question, guys? Or like we move ahead? Now, shall we see some web application attacks? For example, someone said like SQL injection. Is anyone interested in like looking like what is SQL injection? Website hacking contains both the client side as well as server side attacks. Yes, we can see our public IP address. To see your private IP address, just go to CMD and type IP config. So right now I'm using this Wi-Fi, so my private IP address is 192.168.29.224. So that is my private IP address. But how I can check my public IP address? Just go to Google and type what's my IP. So, and go to the first link and it will tell you over here IPv4. Yeah, so this is my public IP address, 49.37.74.129. So that is my public IP address, and this is being shared. This IP address is actually allocated to my router's router IP address, and it is being shared with all the devices that is actually connected to my router. So yeah, which course is good for fresher? You can go with like cybersecurity, and why I suggest cybersecurity and cloud computing, because you don't really need any programming knowledge for cybersecurity and cloud computing. Everything will be taught from the basic. But in web development and data science, you might need some experience, or you can say a prior knowledge. So that's why I would say, like, freshers can go with cybersecurity or this cloud computing. Just give me a minute. Okay, guys, I'm here. Sorry for the interruption. So yeah, I hope you are clear with private and public IP addresses. So do you know, like, what are APIs? What is an API? Do you know, like, what is API? Okay, let's talk about API. Okay, so now we are going to talk about API. So API stands for application programming interface. Okay, application programming interface. In short, it is also known as API. Any idea, like, what is an API? If no, like, how many have you went to a restaurant? I will give you an example of API using a context of a restaurant. Come on, guys, I want to see more interaction. Only 3 4 people are just talking in the chat. Yes, someone said like API is used to link client and server. Fetch data, yeah. Not just fetching data, there are many more uses of API. Yes, API allows two applications to talk to each other. Okay, let's understand what's API. So you must have like went to a restaurant, right? So suppose there is a table on the restaurant, and let it be me sitting over here on a table, okay? And there is a kitchen, right? There is a kitchen. This, let's say this is a kitchen, and there is a chef working in the kitchen, right? And cooking something, right? And how now I am in the restaurant, wants to eat some food, okay? This is a restaurant, okay? I want to eat food. I am sitting on the table and there is a kitchen in which chef is actually cooking for me, right? So who will convey this to the chef that what I really wants to eat? Who will convey this to the kitchen? Definitely there will be a waiter, right? Who will actually take the order from me, takes it to the kitchen, and the chef will cook whatever item I have requested. It will be brought back by the waiter and served to me on the table, right? Served to me on the table. So that's how it actually works in the restaurant, right? Yes, many says waiter. Okay. Now a web application actually has two sides. The first is actually the client side. The first is actually the client side, and there is again another side that is known as backend, or you can say server side. This is also known as front end. This is also known as front end, and this is known as backend. Okay, and how they actually communicate to each other, that is actually using APIs. Okay, so whatever that is said to the so API actually connects them. So whatever that is sent from client to server is actually a request, and in and whatever sent from server to the client is going to be the response. Now in case of this restaurant scenario, now suppose there is another table on which there is another guy sitting, okay? But this guy is not a good guy, so this is a bad guy, you can say a bad guy sitting on another table. Now what he does, he asks the waiter that, hey, I want the name and number of the person sitting on this table, okay? So will waiter will go and really bring the phone number and name of that person to this bad guy? According to me, this is actually unethical. But what you say? Will waiter will do that? According to you, will waiter will do that? No, right? Many are saying, Komal is saying no, Akshay says no. What about others? I think waiter can do that, but in only in one condition. Okay. So what this bad guy does, okay, he will offer a waiter a huge tip. Okay. Okay. He will offer the waiter a huge tip. Huge tip. Okay. Now waiter got a money, so it is just like a bribery, you can say. Now what waiter will do? He will say that, hey, okay, I will bring the name and number, but don't say this to anyone. And the waiter may accept the huge tip and give the name and number to this bad guy. So this is an unethical way to actually get the information out of the waiter, right? So similarly, in that case, we can also do that in the web application aspect as well. So there are some ways to actually get out the secret information that is in the database of the server. And there are some ways like SQL injection, one of the most wide technique to actually perform this attack. So using SQL injection, you can actually bypass authentication. You can actually dump a database. That means actually you can download the whole database. And this actually caused the database leakage. You have heard many times that, hey, there is like a major database leak in Facebook or many of major companies, right? It actually keeps happening. And these are some attack techniques using which actually attacker gains access to the server and actually dump those database and sell it over darknet. So yeah, so that is how one SQL injection can be done. Now, yeah, so I think up to here it is clear to you. So in the similar manner, you can actually manipulate the request that is going from client to server and actually make the server actually give you the secret data that is with the server. So now comes the thing, SQL injection. Now the thing is SQL injection. So do you know like what is SQL? SQL. Someone also call it as SQL. Someone call it as SQL, but I prefer calling it SQL because SQL is an abbreviation for structured query language. Structured query language. So this actually makes the conversation between client side and the database on the server to talk to each other using the SQL queries. Yes, a structured query language. Now, suppose again let's come to the client side. This is a client side, okay, or you can say front end. Let's talk in the technical term, front end, and this is back end. Okay, now suppose on the front end there is a login page. Okay, login page. So what does a login page has? Definitely a field for username, and there is a field for password, and there is a submit button, right? Submit button. Now someone wants to log into the backend, so how will it actually happen? So as soon as you will enter a username and password and press submit, you know what? SQL query is actually generated. Okay. And how this SQL query looks like, suppose I submitted a name over here as Harsh and a password, let's say 12345, and I press the submit button. Okay. Now, how it will be, how the SQL query will look like. So it will look like something like select star from table where uname or username, whatever you can say, here uname equals to Harsh between the single quotes, and password will is equals to 12345, and this will actually will go to backend, and backend has like database. Okay, this is the symbol of database. Okay, so database, in short we call it as a DB, short for database. It will go to database and verify whether Harsh and username Harsh actually has a password 12345 or not. If it has a 12345 password, it will return the true value, and successfully you log in. Now the question is how we can actually manipulate this thing to actually gain access to a particular website, bypass this authentication mechanism. Okay, this is the process of authentication what I just talked about. Okay, so now Sql injection is another thing, like how we can actually manipulate this SQL query. Okay, manipulate this SQL query and gain access to any other account. So that we'll be seeing tomorrow, and we'll also be looking a practical example of this as well. So till tomorrow you can figure out how I am going to actually manipulate this SQL query and show you like how we can actually bypass the authentication. So yeah, that's it for today, and I hope many of you know about me. My name is Harsh Akshit. I have been like working in security domain for past 3 years. Right now I'm interning with Synopsys as security consultant intern, and I have been also featured in Google's Hall of Fame for reporting a vulnerability to Google. So here you can connect me over LinkedIn. You can search me with my name Harsh Akshit. Also, I'm like very passionate about traveling, so you can also connect with me on Instagram, and my user ID for Instagram is Explorer. So you can find me on Instagram with this username as well, or you can just type my name Harsh Akshit and you will easily find me. So yeah, that's a bit about me. Definitely, like, you can follow me and I will definitely give you a follow back. So yeah, that's a bit about me. If you have any question, you can ask in the chat, or we are done for today. Now we'll be looking about like tomorrow we'll be looking about how we can actually bypass these attacks and bypass this validation, and actually gain access to some accounts, even the admin accounts as well. So let me share the link for today's attendance. I hope earlier I've sent that link was for yesterday's attendance because we missed it, right? So this is the link for today's attendance. That's day 2 attendance. I will just pin it. And yeah, if you have any question, you can just ask in the chat, or No, then let's meet again same time tomorrow. So thank you guys for joining, and bye bye and take care.